So let's get straight into it. I'll direct the questions at each of you. Whichever question is yours, and then you've got microphones, yes? All right, here we go. So my first question is to Yetunde, I do believe. I'm on the wrong page. Yes. So, you assumed leadership at a time when your institution required both stability and transformation. Now, as a pioneering female CEO in a sector with limited precedent, tell us, how did you define your leadership mandate, and which early decisions proved most pivotal in setting a transformative trajectory?
Quite a long question. Happy birthday once again to you. I would say that I'll start with what my dear brother, Tony Cole, had said. It all starts with God, the beginning and the end. And when I assumed my leadership at Unionbank, an organization I always call or refer to as an iconic bank, I was clear that our mandate was in two clear parts. One was to stabilize the bank, restoring confidence in our staff and our customers and stakeholders at large. The second was to build for the future. Stability means restoring confidence internally first, through disciplined execution, and externally through transparent engagement with external stakeholders, customers, shareholders, and our communities. Transformation meant making tough sequence decisions that improved how we govern, serve, and grow conservatively and sustainably without compromising controls. So there were three roughly big decisions, or decisions that were pivotal to ensuring that we're able to grow. First, we had to tighten governance and risk management, clarifying accountabilities, strengthening oversight, ensuring decisions were enriched and anchored on data and control. In the last 2 years, we have significantly refreshed our balance sheet, improved our liquidity, restored confidence, and had to do a lot of provisioning to address identified weaknesses and lay a good foundation for growth. Secondly, we prioritized our customers' experience by fixing the basics, the look and feel of our branches. We have over 250 touch points across Nigeria. Service issues, service channels, ensuring that we were available, reliable, and consistent. And then last but not the least, we had to build momentum among the people and the culture, placing the right leaders in critical roles and setting a performance and values standard-based organization. Because for us, the narrative is that we're building a performance-driven organization that attracts and retains talent. So our people agenda was very key, because without the people, you really can't lead. And so it was important to have a very compelling employee value proposition, which comprised mainly, yes, I'm a woman, of ensuring that my women had a care center. What do I mean by that? A care cube, a creche was provided for the women. We revised our compensation package. We ensured that women and men had the psychological safety to work in an environment that was poised for growth. And so we were able to improve the value proposition and be able to retain. And these steps created a platform for transformation that is both measurable and sustainable.
Thank you very, very much. It's a good place to start. Yes, you may clap. Now, I'm assuming the circumstances were similar for you, Folake. So I'm going to ask you to answer the same question and give us what happened with you from your perspective. I'll just repeat it so as we get it right. You assumed leadership. It was a time when your institution required both stability and transformation. As a pioneering female CEO in a sector with limited precedent, how did you define your leadership mandate? And which early decisions proved most pivotal in setting a transformative trajectory?
All right.
And we're going to the power sector now.
Is this working? Yes. So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Linda, for organizing this and for inviting me. And congratulations to you. You don't look 60 at all.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so first of all, the power sector is a very difficult sector. It's a male-dominated sector, and it was privatized in 2013. So Sahara Group, I think I call him engineer Tonya Cole, my boss, was one of the people that took over that particular asset. At the time I took over leadership, that was in 2020, that was March, we had time to try and understand what needed to be done to ensure we achieved the objective. And my mandate was very clear. Go in there, transform it, make sure it is a performing asset. Unfortunately, I became CEO March 2020. 2 weeks after that was when we had the first COVID-19 lockdown. So mandate is clear. First female CEO in a male-dominated space, a woman that doesn't have STEM background, managing engineers, a technical business, had been in the commercial space. So they knew me. She's resuming this role. What is she going to bring to the table? But that mandate is out of the door because now we're handling a crisis. So I had to I had to ditch whatever strategy or plan I had in my head and face managing a crisis at the time. And I think that was the turning point, and I think the best thing that could have happened to me, because, of course, I don't think anybody knew how to handle the crisis at the time. However, because we're essential services, we had to operate and we had to be there and we had to change the business dynamics. So what happened, I had to roll my sleeves with the team. It's a crisis. Safety is critical here, and we needed to make sure we still provided service to our customers. And I leveraged on the team's expertise. So things that needed to be done, the business continuity plans, what we needed to do to achieve the goal was driven by the different experts in the team. And I was working with them every day. I was in the field. I was particular about safety, and I made sure that they knew that I was particular about their safety. The strategies that we adopted to ensure that we got through that crisis period was driven by the team, but of course I was at the top of the leadership. And I think that was a pivotal moment for me and of course the team, because what they saw here was, even though this woman is not a technical expert, but she's a leader, and she understands what it means to leverage on the skills and abilities of the team. And so it was easy to very quickly then roll out what that transformational agenda and program looked like, with obviously their input here. And we spoke about precedent before then. I mean, the only woman in the sector at the time was Mrs. Oshibodu. She was in Benin Disco. She's an owner-manager, so really, there's a difference between me and her, and she's not even in my area. But what I found during that crisis management period was the importance of understanding the strength each person brings to the table. And the minute you understand that, meaning people are the singular most important thing, the minute you understand that, and you are able to galvanize people and leverage on that, then you have a business right there. So those are the things that kind of help me distinguish myself as a leader.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. And I'm going to move over to Dr. Folasade. This question is to you, Doctor. In navigating a high-impact leadership role with Mastercard West Africa, what strategic priorities did you set from the outset? And how did you ensure the region's unique opportunities were effectively integrated into Mastercard's global vision?
All right. Thank you, and good morning, everyone. It's such a joy to see women supporting women. And let's celebrate Linda. It takes a lot to get people out of bed. My sister Yetunde and Toye, we are still drinking from the same fountain over 20 years. For example, last night, we were at vigil in church. So it takes commitment for us to show up here for Linda today. And congratulations, you look 30 with 30 years of experience.
Thank you very much.
So at Mastercard, that was a great question. At Mastercard, at the beginning, it was not to import any playbook. It was just to ensure that we bring to bear the global footprint that we have across 200 countries, nuanced with the market reality. And as we all know, Africa is blessed with the largest young population that are thriving and growing the economy. And when you unpeel that, you will see that among sub-Saharan Africa fintech ecosystem, Nigeria is leading with a huge, thriving ecosystem. With all of this in mind, what we say at Mastercard is, our slogan is we are powering economies, empowering people, and building sustainable business where every participant prospers. No, prosperity wouldn't come if we import what we have done globally without relevance of the local landscape. So in West Africa, 3 priorities, which is to grow acceptance. And as of 2025, Mastercard has expanded acceptance network in Africa by 45%. And that doesn't come cheap at all. What you are seeing is opportunity to turn our phones, these phones that you are carrying, smartphones, and we had a lot of that in this room this morning. Everyone with a smartphone, please, can you indicate? You are in this room, you have a smartphone. Now, what you should tell yourself again is, why is this not generating income for you? Now, with Mastercard, we have enabled tap on phone. Every NFC-enabled terminal can be turned into an acceptance device. What we have done is to cut the red carpets. We cut out the red tape when it comes to acceptance. This day, people talk about the huge investment in POS terminals. But now you can do that with your smartphone. So it's not just about taking selfies. It's also to turn that into an economic generating opportunity. And the second point is also building trust. Since 2018, Mastercard has invested over $10 billion in cybersecurity. And in the last 3 years, we've been able to stop over $50 billion fraud across the world. I think we should celebrate that. That's the value we bring to Nigeria. So we say we are systemically relevant. We're not just a global footprint. We will bring our global footprint to bear and nuance with the local reality. So we are supporting everyone in the ecosystem. We're not doing this in a vacuum. We are partnering with every player in the ecosystem, the government, the regulator, the fintech, the banks, to ensure that it's a collaboration. Remember, collaboration is the new competition, because if you are not collaborating, you will just die alone. And the third point I want to raise is interoperability. That is where the opportunity within the ecosystem. No man is an island. We don't know it all. We are here leveraging that opportunity, thriving and making sure the global might we have can work. And that one of the top things that we launched at my assumption of duty is essential debit, the global first Niger card, the first domestic card done by any international card scheme. That's something that Nigeria can boast of, and it's its response to the macroeconomics. We launched that in 2024. So it's not all about dollar-denominated card. With that card, you can transact, you can do your business as an SME. We are growing and supporting a thriving economy by just making sure it's not just the dollar-denominated card. Your Naira card can also do the same thing as an SME, supporting the new tax regime, where we can ensure the informal sector, they have a trail in their transactions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so as we go and speak with every panelist before I start again from the beginning, I'm going to come to Mrs. Chidilim Menakaya. And my question for you is, your leadership operates at the intersection of enterprise and societal impact. Now, that's an area where success is complex and is often without clear precedent. So how did you define your leadership mandate in a space where value is not always immediately visible, yet expectations are significant?
I just want to start by saying thank you to Linda and the entire DBNC team. We've done this for how many years? 4 years, 6 years, right? And all of that. And again, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
You really don't look 60. All right, so Sahara Group is 30 years this year. What this means is that we've played in the field of social impact for 30 years, right? And we've never leveraged all the work that we do under the social impact vehicle of Sahara Group, which is Sahara Group Foundation, to be visible. We've done a lot of work that we haven't sort of shared visibly for publicity's sake, right? We've built for 30 years intentionally. We've built systems. We've built interventions that will serve the communities that we operate in. And we put framework that ensures that we remain sustainable as a business. And one of the things that we've done, riding on the shoulder of one of our co-founders in the room, Mr. Tonye Cole, is to ensure that our social impact mandate is infused with our business strategy. It does not exist separately. And I think that when I resumed this role, I came from a change management point of view, a communication point of view, an operations point of view, and a commercial point of view into a social impact space where you can then bring that together to come up with a new strategy that reposition the Sahara Group Foundation to what we say today, we're building sustainable communities through extrapreneurship, right? We don't say entrepreneurship, but it's just ensuring that we're empowering extraordinary people in the different spaces that they play in globally, basically. So my mandate was really very clear, to continue to build sustainably and ensure that we're actually empowering the communities that we serve sustainably. You hear us talk about sustainability, and we've not done this alone. We've formed the right partnerships, both internally. We have over 3,000 employees that volunteer every day to ensure that the mandate that I carry is realized, and we ensure that all the programs that we do remain sustainable. So my mandate is really very clear, to continue to empower communities sustainably, globally. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, in case you just walked into the room, let's just remind you that where we are now is we're having an executive roundtable, and our panel discussion is leadership without precedent. Now, clearly, if you are in the room and you're an SME or MSME, we've heard from a few of them in the room, what you have the privilege of now is hearing from the proverbial horse's mouth how this thing is done or how it can be done. So I hope you're taking notes. Let's move swiftly on. And I'm coming back to you, Folasade. Now, the electricity sector, clearly, as you said, it demands operational excellence under immense complexity. We all know this. How have you leveraged those structural and systemic challenges as opportunities to innovate and create sustainable performance?
Okay, thank you. I was worried when you said Folasade. But when I heard electricity, I knew, it has to be me. Okay, I assume that people know how complex or difficult the electricity space is. But they don't. So I'm going to, every opportunity I have, I try and quickly throw it in there. It's very difficult. It's a whole value chain. So the power distribution companies, that's Ikeja Electric, Eco, Abuja Discos, we are the ones that are customer facing. So we're the ones you abuse, they're the ones that you see. When there's no light, we're the ones. However, there is a whole value chain. The distribution companies just distribute power. We don't generate power. So there is a transmission company that wheels the power. There's a generating company that generates the power. And then, of course, there are gas plants, for example. So there are gas operators that supply gas to the generating assets. The distribution company simply distributes that power and collects that the naira value of the power given to us on behalf of that value chain, right? Yes. Now, that's English and gibberish. It doesn't concern you. You're thinking, why is she telling us the story? Give me power. So that's very complex. However, I'll just use statistics, right? There's something, the way the distribution companies or the way the sector is managed or assessed is your average, there's a technical, there's a commercial, and a collection loss. How much of it? So making it plain, imagine you sell 10 breads, and you're only able to account for 5 of those breads. Is that a business? So in the power distribution company, generally, and I'm not looking at one disco, you're only able to account for 50% of that power. So what that literally means is that that is a business that is not working properly. Now, for power to be available, a lot of investment is required to at least improve the infrastructure. If you improve the infrastructure, you can wield more energy, you have minimal downtime. If there's an outage, you have money to be able to buy parts to repair the fault. You must have money to be able to give customers meters because a lot of people don't like estimation. So you need to be able to deploy that. But because there's already a liquidity challenge, because you're only able to account for 50% of what you buy, therein lies the challenge. But therein also lies the opportunity to make a difference, to innovate, regardless of the constraints. So let me narrow down to Ikeja Electric. So what have we done? So metering, for example, there is a metering methodology. If there's a metering device in an individual's house, you are able to at least account for collection, meaning whatever is delivered to that house, you can collect it. However, I'm sure you guys have heard of bypass, stealing. So you can have a meter in a place, and someone that's fraudulent will steal the energy. And if you steal the energy, we're not able to get that cash, meaning the whole value chain is affected, right? So that's a problem. So as a disco, as a Ikeja, and I'm really proud of this, what we've done from an innovation perspective is we have leveraged on technology to enhance the current smart metering infrastructure to ensure that we can block those leakages from how the meter is installed, from the cables that you can use to, steal the energy, to the collection itself. And that is an experiment we've done regardless of the constraints. And this is not the technology we deployed from global best practices. This is us, local, looking and understanding our network, understanding our problem, understanding our uniqueness of how theft is done, and come up with a solution that has innovated and can ultimately sustain our space. So I'm extremely proud of that.
Wow. Yeah, it does deserve a round of applause. All right, and I am moving fast deliberately because we're a little bit behind time. I see the timer. Let me come to you again, Yetunde. In a financial system where risk, regulation, and public trust are tightly interwoven, how do you exercise judgment when precedent offers limited guidance, particularly in moments that demand both speed and accountability?
Speed, accountability. Banking, highly competitive, as we all know. Over 27 banks, all jostling for the same customer. So in banking, speed is important, but it's never more important than trust. Trust is critical. It's important to make haste slowly. Make haste slowly. And for me, where precedent is limited, I've learned over time to have a disciplined framework, which I will call CHRIS. CHRIS. C is for my customer experience and fairness. Very important. Without the customer, there's no bank. Without the customer, I cannot take any decision because every decision we make has a direct impact on the customer. H is for happy staff. Happy staff, happy customer. If the staff are happy, then you have happy customers because they will treat your customers well and they will be happy with what they're doing. I earlier talked about improving their welfare package and all that. That's all geared towards making them happy so that they can take happy decisions. R is for regulatory compliance. We are in a regulated environment. We must ensure that there's zero tolerance for any breach. So you must comply. So in any decision, regulatory compliance is important to ensure there are no breaches. And I've consistently done that since I came in, and we've ensured that there have been reduced regulatory breaches in the last 2 years. I is for informed judgment based on different lenses. You look through the risk lens, you look through the control lens, you look through the legal lens before you take any decision. Yes, speed, but you have to look through those lenses to ensure that you are still compliant. And S stands for safety and control. The safety of the assets, the safety of the people, and of course controls. If there are no controls, they say speed kills. It does kill when you take a decision without having a framework, and that's my own decision framework. And finally, in these moments, through the experiences, the learnings, we capture what has worked, what has not worked, and based on that, it helps us to, and helps me to be able to take better informed decisions under different scenarios.
Thank you very much. I'm definitely stealing that one, Chris. Okay. Coming over again to let's move over and have a look at the emerging markets now. And I think we'll have a few minutes, and we won't take too many questions from the floor. I do apologize, but we might have a few minutes. So if you do have questions, just write them down on a piece of paper, and if we have enough time, we will squeeze them in at the end of this panel. All right, I'm coming back to you, Folasade. Emerging markets often innovate out of necessity rather than scale. Now, from your perspective, what unique capabilities and opportunities in African financial markets enable locally driven innovations to not only thrive regionally, but also compete globally?
Innovation is not coming out of excess capacity. It's actually out of necessity. So it's easier to scale. Nobody is bringing any solution. We're not importing any solution because we've got what it takes in Africa, especially looking at the audience, to solve real problems. And how do we make this happen? We are providing solutions to real constraints. For example, the opportunity provided with digital wallets and mobile money is a different approach to banking. My sister has talked about what the brick and mortar banks, what they're doing in terms of advancing and providing trust and scalability. Scalability comes more from the opportunity from digital, the digital footprints. GSME 2024 data revealed out of 2 billion mobile wallets in the world, Africa is contributing 1.1. That's a huge size. From a continent that is just rising, that is just showing up. That provides a template that we can build on. And with what you're seeing in digital innovation, let's even start with Nigeria. Africa is not just rising. We are thriving. We are on the move. We are the ones to watch out for. SMEs, we have the opportunity for innovation is a large informal sector. SMEs, they are the backbone of our economy. And they are also faced with structural challenges, structural barriers to access credit. If I come to my sister as an SME and I want to apply for a loan, there are certain things that I'm going to be requested to fulfill. Now, that is where we come in, to smoothing that friction. We have SME in a box that supports SME to be digitally enabled, where they can create the kind of trail that will make for acceptance for credit in a bank or any other sector. That's the opportunity we are seeing. And that scale can only happen when we all collaborate with the stability that the regulator provides and the government for the supervisory section and this trust that the banks will give. And of course, the fintech ecosystem. You have what it takes. Don't leave this room without making friends and ensuring you have someone that can support your business the next time around. Let me take a pause on that.
Wow. Okay, Chidilim, this is for you. In a field where outcomes are long-term and variables fluid, how do you make high-stakes strategic decisions when traditional performance benchmarks are either limited or insufficient?
So I'd say that in a fluid environment, your strategy can be static, right? Let's even start with that, right? As Sahara Group Foundation, we set very clear framework, impact framework. We also define what our success matrix would be, and that's what drives how we work. But we also say that we build in flexibility. The reason why I say that is when you're co-creating and you're working with the communities for your interventions, you have to be flexible enough to take on new outlook to what their realities is. So you might be providing clean water today, and tomorrow it might be something else. So whilst you have built some strategy, you've got to be flexible enough to review and regroup and redefine and all of that. So I would say that the way we take high risk or high stake decisions is based on the framework that we've set in terms of what we're trying to achieve, what's the objective, and what we've defined as our success factors, not necessarily what has been defined traditionally. We're not, we set our own pace, we define our own success factors, and that's how we take our decisions.
Very interesting. Thanks a lot. Please, let's encourage our panelists. They're giving you knowledge that you're going to use tomorrow, and perhaps you'll be up here sitting at the top of at the top of the food chain, like my panelists here. I'm coming to you next, Yetunde. Within a market shaped by structural constraints and rising customer expectations, tell us how you position Unionbank to deliver outcomes that are not only locally responsive, but globally competitive in governance, innovation, and service delivery.
Okay, as I earlier said, Unionbank is an iconic and systematically important bank. We start by being unapologetically local. We're rooted in local realities. We're supporting households, SMEs, and corporates with solutions that reflect how people earn, how they spend, and how they invest in our market. At the same time, local cannot be an excuse for lower standards. Ambition for Unionbank is to meet global expectations in governance, in risk management, service reliability, and innovation generally. So yes, we are a local bank. Yes, we do not have global footprint, but doesn't mean that our standards within and without does not reflect the global standards that are available. So we have some clear priorities for us, is to ensure that we benchmark ourselves against the global standards. And so strengthen our control environment and governance, so growth is sustainable. We modernize our technology and processes to improve speed, resilience, and customer experience. And our mission generally in Unionbank is that we make lives of Nigerians better by delivering the simplest, the smartest solutions and guarantee the best experiences every time. So at Unionbank, it is a journey, and we are proud of our rich heritage as a bank and very excited about the future, where we are local, but we are matching our standards to meet global standards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now if I mixed up, if I earlier on mixed up any names, because we've got Folasade here and we've got Folake. I did, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I know. Oh, sugar. Okay.
60.
It's 60, yes. Let's blame it on 60. It's actually something that I do. I always say that whenever I'm up on a stage like that, please, if I make some kind of mistake, just pretend you didn't notice, okay? Then I can apologize in private. But it's not going to happen again. I'm coming to you, Folake, next. Now, beyond strategy, transformation often fails execution. What decisive shifts have you made within Ikeja Electric to ensure that vision translates into measurable operational success?
All right, thank you very much for that question. Now, the uncomfortable truth about transformation or strategies working, which obviously is vision being translated into strategy, is that in most large organizations, and that's backed by research data. I know I read an Harvard review recently that said 70% of large organizations' transformation initiatives fail. And that is data and facts. And so in my mind, I thought Ikeja Electric is a large organization. It's a legacy organization. An organization that was public run, wasn't private, very bureaucratic, wasn't performance driven. And then we've come into this organization, private, we're performance driven. The board wants results. And my job is to transform that. And when I looked, we had strategy sessions, we had very nice decks. So we're very clear about what the roadmap was. And I think all of those large companies had those sort of decks as well with consultants. But what is the key factor? It's culture. Culture, people, was the major thing that didn't allow this transformation to come through. So what did I do differently? And I always say, I'm a believer of people, I believe in people. And culture is not something that happens overnight. So what's the first thing I want to achieve here? First of all, we want to have, I think you mentioned that, we want to have a performance-driven organization. So to have a performance-driven organization, what does that mean for the people that I work with is, what does performance mean? What is that expectation of each person? So first thing was to make that very clear to each individual and make sure that we are showing this is what is expected of you, this is what you're delivering, and communicating that on a regular basis. And we did that literally, just that, for 6 months. Every day, you're looking at performance. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you delivered. This is what you're supposed to do. We're rewarding the people that achieve the performance and obviously helping and guiding and, doing what needs to be done for those that don't deliver. And that slowly became a culture. And that culture of being performance-driven is what has helped us at Ikeja Electric today to systematically achieve all the different initiatives and strategies that we set out to deliver on.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, you do see how we're doing this. We go and then come all the way down. Then I'll go back to the very beginning. So Folasade knows she's next. And my question for you is, emerging markets often innovate out of necessity rather than scale. Now, from your perspective, what unique capabilities and opportunities in African financial markets enable locally driven innovations to not only thrive regionally, but also compete globally? No, I've asked, no, that's my bad. I'm coming. Africa's growth story is what I want to ask you about. Now, it's intertwined with financial inclusion and digital infrastructure. As a pioneering female MD, how do you balance global standards with local market realities, ensuring that both excellence and innovation thrive simultaneously?
Thank you. I need to level set that I am not the first female CEO at Mastercard.
I see.
No, we've had Omoke, we've had AB, we had about 2 or 3. But the joy of it is Mastercard could identify that there's a lot of value that a female leader can unpack. And that's why and history has proven that, statistics have proven that. And from what you can see on stage, post-COVID, the countries that fared well, best under COVID pressure, were led by women. So let's celebrate the women in the hall. It is what it is. And kudos to the men, he for she, the heroes in the room. It is an established fact. So when you talk about how the inclusion is panning out, the first thing is financial inclusion has got to be inclusive. It's not just targeting all of us in the room. We should start looking at those people outside that ecosystem. And so, like I said earlier, Nigeria had a large informal sector. We are also leading with the youngest population, a thriving population in terms of demography. The Yaba rave that has birthed the fintech ecosystem is something we should be proud of. And that has produced major unicorns. We have the Money Points, we have the InterSwitch of this world that has held their sway even globally. We have the further wave of this world. That's something Nigeria has produced. Now, innovation came out of necessity. That necessity creates opportunity. The ecosystem is what will make that opportunity to scale. And that scale, therein lies that impact. Now, within the financial inclusion ecosystem, each player brings their own superpower. The bank, they are bringing their trust. The regulator, stability. Government is to ensure everyone is talking to one another. And where we are at Mastercard is to provide that global footprint across 200 countries, nuanced to local relevance. We will be the rail, the infrastructure that you can trust, powering that financial inclusion. And no man can go it alone. The sun does not even suddenly rises. And that's why we need one another. Competition is no longer applicable. Collaboration is the new competition. And the financial inclusion can only happen when we realize we are only touching a piece of the pie by speaking to one another. We need to go outside the ecosystem because there's a lot happening there. The SME, a lot of Nigerians are running business post-COVID from their bedroom, from their car trunk. And those ones, we need to cater for them and build an ecosystem in the financial sector that allows them to play, creating that digital audit trail, that digital financial trail that they can use to qualify for a credit or a loan or for some other support that is required. And talk to us at Mastercard. We will provide you with SME in a box that support that financial inclusion.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Now we are out of time, so I'm going to have to say I've got the last 2 questions, but we'll have 60 seconds to just do. So we're going to do a quick fire thing, just so as we can squeeze in at least 3 questions from the floor. And my first question is going to obviously come to you, Chidilim, in 60 seconds. As expectations around sustainability, equity, and social investment continue to evolve, what fundamental shifts do you believe are non-negotiable for organizations seeking to remain credible and relevant in the impact space?
I'd say accountability, right? A lot of organizations do a lot of impact work, but what we do is output, not outcomes. So we just sort of tick activities and not show how sustainable these activities are. So we must hold ourselves accountable. We should start reporting. We should show what our governance structure is, right? Sahara Group Foundation, Sahara Group, publishes our sustainability report every year. And this is what guides what we've done right, what we've not done right, what lessons we've learned, and how we can then regroup the next year. So accountability is very key for any organization who wants to keep operating sustainably and impactfully.
Thank you very much. And done in, I think it was less than 60 seconds. Yetunde, we're going to come to you. If leadership is ultimately measured by boundaries it expands, what would you identify as the most significant boundary you've shifted? And what should future leaders understand about leading where no clear precedent exists?
For me, I think that the most important boundary that I've been able to shift is the fact that a bank must choose between prudence and progress. We have demonstrated that you can tighten risk and governance while simultaneously improving your services, investing in innovation, and building a stronger growth engine. For future leaders, as you said, 60 seconds, the lesson is to lead with principles and build institutions, not personal heroics, so that it would outlive you. Where no precedent exists, you must create clarity. You must define standards. You must set non-negotiables and make decisions that you can defend under scrutiny. And finally, you must invest in successors and systems so that the boundary you expand becomes the new normal and not a temporary spike in performance.
Thank you very much. And ending where we began with Folake, it's the same question. And I'm just going to repeat it real quick. If leadership is ultimately measured by the boundaries that expands, what would you identify as the most significant boundary you've shifted? And what should future leaders understand about leading where no clear precedent exists?
Okay, like I said, female leader in a male-dominated space. Gender is important, difference is important, it has a benefit, but that's not the game changer. Anyone that wants to succeed, or any leader that wants to succeed, needs to understand the importance of discipline, not difference. So whether it's female or male, it's the discipline, the consistency, the belief in people, and just being able to execute that has shown the result. And so once you have that mindset, that's all you need.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to stand for this so I've got a clear view. We're just going to take 3 questions. You've got 20 seconds to ask the question and 30 seconds to answer. There's a hand up over there. Can we give her a microphone?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anastasia Kosochko-Koli. I'm the founder of Blink Cleaning. So my question is this. If you are starting first...
And who's your question for?
Okay,
yes.
It's for Mrs. Folake.
All right.
If you are starting first from the beginning, what are you going to focus on and why? Is it your marketing? Is it your team? Okay. Can you hear me now? If you are starting first from the beginning, if you are starting your business first from the beginning with little capital, what are you going to focus on? Is it your team that's capable hands? Is it marketing, or is it your mode of operation? Thank you.
Well, I'd have thought that question was probably more suited for either Folasade or I mean, maybe you've got it mixed up. Yes. All right, let anyone answer. Someone should take the question.
Folasade,
or I'll nominate.
All right. Thank you. If I'm starting my business, Steve Jobs says, take care of your employee, they will take care of the customer. Yeah. And in God we trust. Every other person bring data. Data is king. You need data. One of the things that is still hurting our innovation evolution in Nigeria and Africa generally today is the quality of data. If you get the data right, then you can plan on what your growth levers should be. That would be my That will be my priority. Take care of the employees, and they get your data right.
We have a question. Yes, so I'll read it out. It was written on a piece of paper, and then and it's our last one.
You want to read it?
So it says, and it's for Mrs. Yetunde, how do you build trust within your team, especially during periods when you have to make difficult decisions that may not be widely supported? And this question comes from an SME.
Thank you very much, SME, for that question. I'll say by the grace of God. You have to rely on God to give you the wisdom and the grace to face what is unseen. Building psychological safety is something that I feel that really works. And what do I mean by building psychological safety? It means ensuring that you allow your team to breathe, to be able to express themselves, so that you get to know what makes each of you tick. In Unionbank, we have over 6,000 staff. And so, of course, it's impossible for me to know each person individually and to build trust on an individual basis. But what we've done is to ensure that the tone from the top is very clear. My body language is also very clear, that it's important that we have open and candid discussions and open feedback, and that even during meetings, out of meetings, people give that feedback, and we listen deeply. When you listen deeply to your team, you listen to criticism, you listen to feedback. Feedback is a gift. Then you slowly but surely build trust across the organization, and you hear what you don't want to hear, you hear what you need to hear, and you're able to lead effectively.
Thank you very, very much. Can I ask you to please put your hands together for my panelists? It's the Executive Roundtable, Leadership Without Precedent, Mrs. Chidilim Menakaya, Mrs. Folake Soetan, Mrs. Yetunde B Oni, and Dr. Folasade Femi-Lawal. Thank you so very much, ladies.